So now that we're still, going now into your term, maybe we can now delve into some of the student concerns that have been raised over your tenure. And obviously, the biggest being the school Wi-Fi, which has been a problem that people have been complaining for. For instance, I've been complaining for since I was in first year. So there was a student council when I was in first year, second year, third year, each new student council. How is it that none of them have been able to address this? What is this that is so hard to address in school Wi-Fi in a university as big as Strathmore?
Okay, that's an amazing question. I think I'll answer this question by saying there have been bigger concerns. There have been life or death concerns. There have been concerns with mental health.
We're not comparing
mental health
concerns.
challenges. I'm just saying.
Okay.
However, when it comes to the internet use and the Wi-Fi, the biggest challenge is not the router or the access points. Colin Soko told you that when he's exiting office, there will be increased routers. The routers were increased, the access points were increased. That one I'm well aware about.
Well, we're still on the routers point. A lot of people believe, myself included, that this is a university that can afford literally to have routers in every single room. So when we say the routers have been increased, but we don't physically see the routers being increased, how do we, you can say one router was put in STC and there were two. But if it's not helping the situation and the school is intaking thousands of more pupils.
That's where I was going. The challenge is not the routers or the access points. The challenge now is the utility of the Wi-Fi itself and the bandwidth. You're probably complaining of the Wi-Fi because your Wi-Fi, you want to use it to watch Netflix, Instagram, Spotify. But at the end of the day, it's this. What exactly did we come here to do? And that's one. The second thing is the utility of the Wi-Fi. You see, this is how it happens. The internet is a packet. Data is transferred from packets from one area to another, and the server uploads all the packets. Now, depending on what activity you're doing, the size of the packets increase, so maybe you overload the server. So you'll notice that the Wi-Fi is not bad, depending on the time of the day you're in school. Okay. But the problem is, the other thing is the utility of the Wi-Fi, because the Wi-Fi lags and slows down at the peak of student activity. That's between 11 and around 4 p.m. And that's when every student is in the student center, guys are there for lunch, guys are breaking. That's when you find you can't even access your email or AMS. I suffer the same consequences. The problem is not that. The problem is when one person is using the Wi-Fi to stream, the other person is using the Wi-Fi to log into AMS, the AMS Wi-Fi will be slowed down because I started streaming before you.
So instead of going into the technicalities of it, talking about Wi-Fi, the bandwidth, whatever, let me just ask you this question. If I pay school fees of, let's say, even if I pay school fees of 50,000 and Wi-Fi is included in the fees, and I come to school and I want to watch Netflix, why should I be dissuaded from doing that? If I want to watch Netflix here, it should not be restricted. Whatever I want to use the Wi-Fi for, why is that even a concern that the university has? If anything, we should be allowed to use the Wi-Fi however we want. That's the first problem. Secondly, even with that utility argument, we have places like Kwetu, a whole building where someone can be using at least 3 devices on streaming, watching movies and research here, and all of them will be working, and they have just as much people.
Okay.
The university, if it's increasing people, they can increase Wi-Fi. Same thing as USIU. USIU is a university just as big as this one. Why don't they have the same technicality issues that you're talking about? If it's the network provider, why doesn't the school change that? Because if this is an issue that has been complained about year in, year out, surely.
Great. Now, I'll give an example that will resonate with everyone who joined school during COVID. When you were given bundles during the pandemic, you were given bundles to access how many applications? Zoom, WhatsApp, YouTube. The reason why those bundles were given is so that we could access classes. It's the same thing here. That's why you have a hybrid learning system. The goal is to increase the internet to make learning efficient.
So can you be given the bundles then?
The problem is not the bundles or anything of that sort. Whether you're given the bundles or not, the purpose of the bundle is the challenge. Why would a university pay for your subscription, for Wi-Fi for you to watch your Netflix
subscription? So we're supposed to prove to the university while we are paying school fees that because, the fault is theirs.
No.
The Wi-Fi is poor. We have to prove to the university that we are going to use the bundles to join our class.
The problem is not that. The problem is you're requesting for us to increase the speed of Wi-Fi for you to increase your streaming. And I think that's what the challenge is. I have no problem with the use of the Wi-Fi. In fact, we can make the Wi-Fi faster by locking out all the apps. You'll never have a challenge with YouTube. You'll never have a challenge with WhatsApp. You'll never have a challenge with Instagram or Twitter. It's a proposal that, can be given. No one will ever complain that the Wi-Fi is slow. The problem now comes with guys who come playing video games, streaming apps.
Why should that be a problem?
The problem is that the reason why we're in the university premises?
Maybe that's why they came to university that day. Maybe they don't have anywhere else to do that. Plus, it's not a breaking of the rules. If someone decides they want to sit in the library, put on their headphones and watch Netflix, that shouldn't be a problem. But I get where you're coming from. But before we even close this conversation, kindly respond to the comparison I just made with USIU. USIU is another university where a student can have their laptop streamed. You never stream Netflix and still do their research work. They never have the issues of Wi-Fi. So what is it that they're doing in that university that this university hasn't been able to do for the past however long it has been that we've had the Wi-Fi concerns?
I don't know. I cannot talk about USIU matters. I only go to USIU for competitions or when I'm invited.
But we expect you to.
But at the end of the day, I think I'd argue for our side. I think if the institution believes that the freedom we've been given to have the internet is something we should use responsibly to ensure that we boost our academics, then I believe that that's the stance they've taken. For me now, justifying to them that we should shift our priorities from academics to streaming apps is a challenge.
Shift.
Because
that's
exactly
that they should
allow us
because even
to
in the
have
academics aspect as well, we're not able to do research. If I'm in the library and the Wi-Fi is poor, I'm not able to research.
Again, Cherry, that's because everyone else is streaming here. That's why you can't have internet in the library because the server is overloaded.
So what can the university do about that, and why haven't they done that yet?
In a pragmatic reality, in a pragmatic world, the easiest solution, long-term solution, is to lock out TikTok, maybe Netflix.
So there's no other way they can go about it.
And test for a period of time whether the speed would increase. Secondly, if that does not work, maybe we could have conversations on how to increase the bandwidth or, try to increase the capacity of the Wi-Fi, maybe the megabits per second. But till then, they're continuously pushing. They're continuously increasing routers. They're continuously increasing access points. But remember again, these things take time. Same way, things take time, but they'll be implemented. Same way you guys complained about laptops, and we ended up resolving that matter with a day. I think you guys need to give time. Because again, between January and April, and I'll be honest, between January and April, I never had challenges with the internet. I think the other thing is, when the expansion maybe was done, the population was not as big. So right now, it maybe is room for conversation for us to increase the internet. So I can't comment about USIU. I'm not president of USIU. I'm president of Strathmore University.
Okay. Just one last, I know I said we'll move on to the next concern, but just one last thing I'd want you to clarify on that. The student council office has its own Wi-Fi. Why is that when even the club's office doesn't have its own Wi-Fi? The rest of STC doesn't have its own Wi-Fi. Every other single person in school is complaining about Wi-Fi. You people have, leaders have your own Wi-Fi, which is a bit, to be here saying that the population, convincing citizens that the population is the reason why the Wi-Fi hasn't been improved is a bit problematic, because that's demeaning even the existing population. It shouldn't have anything to do with the population. The existing population pays fees. So whether or not it increases, they need to be catered for.
All right, very simple. I found the internet there. I did not ask for the increase of this internet. You as well as I know that internet was put there during Collins Oko's era. I did not request for the router to be put in the office. That's one. Secondly, that does not mean that it's stable. Again, it doesn't mean that it's stable because we are all connected to the same centralized server. When the Strathmore Wi-Fi collapses, mine collapses just as well. So it's not like I'm living in a world where my Wi-Fi is perfect. I'm also suffering the same consequences, and I'm continuously talking to the IT department to see how we can resolve the issue. So, same way, I'm gonna say this, give it time. We are continuously working and having conversations with these people, and they're continuously listening to us. I think the other thing is we also just need to be patient because again, even if it's increasing the access points, it's not like I can buy a router.
So how much time would you
CBD
tell a citizen watching and who has exams next week and their Wi-Fi right now is shaky and they can't read in school? How much time would you tell them to read for?
If that's the intent, if the intent is to read, the internet has no problem supporting most of the time. The issues is 11 to 4. And even when we are saying that the internet has a problem, here's the solution. To the person who is reading and you're trying to pass your grade, we can allow you, and I mean this, the person who's reading, you are suffering because Cherry here wants to watch Netflix,
yes,
and Ted here wants to read.
I'm entitled to that.
So if we want to have an easier time, I need to block Cherry from watching Netflix.
Which one
and
haven't you
TikTok,
done yet?
because you'll all cause a fit. Same way you're refusing.
Okay. Let's move
It's
to
the
the
same
next.
way.
Let's move to the next student concern. Basically, your student council president is telling you that there's no defined timeline of when that will be solved.
What I'm
So
saying
let's
is, I don't know if it will be solved within the next 1 week.
Exactly.
Because I have no clue how long.
Within the
it will
next
take.
1 month.
I am in office for 2 months.
Okay.
Same way Oko left some things and I
The
completed.
next concern has to do with Maandamanos. The first time the protests were announced, a lot of us were doing exams, and if anyone is watching and they don't understand Kiswahili, Maandamano means protests, which the first time it was announced by Raila, we personally, as an SLS student, I was doing exams, and the first thing we expected was communication from the student council office, which we never received. The next day, we never even received any communication from any official, from the administration, from the student council office, from no one. And it was very contentious because I remember we were being asked to do there was no clarification on whether we'd be given special exams or even whether those special exams would be offered in the first place. So what would you say about the quality of communication from your office? Because I think that's a very bad image it paints for something as serious as that to be happening and not even a single word from the student council.
Now, let me clarify this. Academic matters are solely undertaken by the Academic Affairs Department. That's the registrar, the dean of students,
So you have
and
no
the DVC. Relax. So what I do is very simple. I communicate to them. They have a sit down. The moment they give me feedback, I communicate. To say that there was no communication would be a lie. I was in my hospital bed at the same exact time, Cherry, when that thing was happening, and I remember we issued a statement telling students that should you feel like it's unsafe, you can easily take special exams. I'm one of the people
Maybe I
who
should
also
clarify,
suffer.
there was no official communication. WhatsApp groups are not official
The
communication.
truth of the matter
and
is
even
this.
then, it came
Emails
after.
themselves, you don't read your emails. The
So is that
easiest
a
way,
reason to not give
The
official communication?
the easiest way to communicate with students and to get the information promptly is through the channel I know you're most active on.
Okay.
So before it goes out on email, I can share it on WhatsApp.
Okay.
Yeah.
We won't go deeper into that because we need to rush time.
Sorry.
It's okay. We need to touch review. We need to rush a bit of the time. But basically, there was also a petition that was going around. I'm not sure if you remember it. That was basically discrediting any of the work that the student council had done, and basically I think it had about 50 signatures by the end. By the time the person who started it decided to not pursue it anymore, and so that shows you that a lot of people, or at least 50 people who signed it. Am I talking about a petition that you don't know about?
I'm aware of the petition.
Yeah.
Change.org.
Yes, where people basically were signing to get you guys out of office because they believed that you were not competent, or that the whole student council was not doing anything. What do you, any comments about that, first of all?
Yeah, first of all, I'm happy that petition came about. Not to say that everyone should start a petition when they have issues. I think the challenge that was there is the lapse in communication between us and the affected parties. The person who started the petition came and had a sit down with myself, and I'm grateful to the people who were running the petition platform, change.org, because we had a conversation with them about, what the issue was.
Which was what?
The issue was the person felt like I was not communicating through emails enough. And that was a challenge.
Back to that.
Now, the problem was not that. The problem was, and I remember saying this even when I started my tenure and even when I was campaigning, one of the biggest problems and one of the biggest issues that you guys all raised is that there were too many emails from the student council. So at the time we were trying to find a balance to sort of to sort of try and ensure that the communication is maximized, but not, tedious to everyone.
Okay.
So I
So you
think the
addressed
problem, we addressed the person, we sat with them, and the petition was closed. I did not force the individual to take it down. I did not strong arm them. It was a conversation. Same way we had an opposition leader, and they also came down. And everyone else who had always had an opinion against me, we sit down, we talk, and we solve the issues. I think the challenge now was for them to see it as is, because they had just gotten wind, and someone gave them one side of the story without the other half, and maybe it was also personal issues.
So it was a misunderstanding.
It was a misunderstanding between one person and another person.
Okay.
So without any context whatsoever, without trying to address it.
It's good that you cleared the air on that, but still now on the petition, the Student Council Constitution provides for the various ways in which a student leader might be removed from power, and neither of the ways involves having students removing the student leader from power. Do you think that that's problematic? Because even if this petition were to get 10,000 signatures under the Student Council Constitution, they couldn't remove any student council leader. And do you think that encourages abuse of power? And maybe you can answer that first.
Great question. So I think the problem is not that. The problem is automatically when you're elected, you're taken to be a responsible person. And I think you vote for the people, maybe the people you have in office are a representation of your ideals and, what you believe in as a population. So I don't think there'd be any point where the student council would have someone who's so rogue, so insane that the students would want to.
Do you not?
I think then, if that's the case, it allows, and there's a clause where the dean can impeach. We ourselves as a student council are not insane, all 9 of us. We can impeach an individual, and all it takes is 2/3 majority. So out of 8, you just need 2/3 majority, and the individual is out.
So you don't think it's problematic that the students, if they vote in a leader and they don't think that leader is
the dean can easily remove any of us and dissolve the entire council, especially.
But the power is only vested in the dean.
I think because it's a bridge between us and the committee, they'd be the people best placed, because again, remember, sometimes these political races get heated. Like you said, I won with a disparity of 12 votes. So if I won with a disparity of 12 votes, if it was an issue of, people not liking me, people not having, you'd have no leeway to serve. So for me, I think then the best way is to ensure that just the council that you have, votes, basically. The power is with you. Vote for the person. If they're not working, you can raise alarm.
Okay, so while we're still there, maybe you can comment on the whole issue happening right now with the academic rep. There's been a lot of noise outside, but we don't know exactly what is happening. There's noise that he's resigned. There's noise that he took your seat as acting president when you graduated. What exactly is the drama that's happening, and what way forward?
He resigned. He never told me he's resigning.
Why? What was the reason behind that?
I don't know his reasons for resignations, but he stated in his video that his reasons for resignation is to run for president after he appointed himself acting president. So I can't comment on his intentions. What I can say is this: as someone I've worked with for the past 9 months, all the best in your pursuit of power. However, I don't know if resignation from the academic rep to go for president is the best idea in my books, because we only have 2 months left in office.
So all he just resigned. None of you knew what it was
None of us knew he was resigning.
Oh, okay.
We just saw, like you guys found out, at TikTok. Again, social media is sometimes the tool that gives us information. I think for me, I'd just say that in his pursuit of presidency, Gideon, my brother, my friend, all the best. I have no idea why you left us so early. I'd have enjoyed being with you till the 12 months where we inaugurate a new president. And if it happens to be you, I've worked with you for 9 months. You've been in the council, so all the best in it. Should you win, as he has stated he's campaigning, should he actually get the seat, I have no problem, no bad blood. I'll hand over office to him and show him around and show him who the necessary parties are. I have no problem.
Okay, so now that you've even mentioned the social media, we can go into maybe the last part of this part regarding Dispatch STC, which obviously has been a very instrumental part of your tenure in terms of a lot of disparity. People are very torn in terms of how they view it, and there are people who think it has served as a means of holding you and your entire council accountable and such things. But I'm sure there's also some of you that feel that it has been spreading false rumors or false news. So what do you have to comment about it as a news or media website?
Media outlet. I think for me, it's very simple. I'm a student of journalism. I studied communication and journalism. So contrary to the popular opinion that I'm a lawyer, I'm a communication student who just happens to know a lot of lawyers in Strathmore University, people who are going to be lawyers in Strathmore University. I think it's more of like a double-edged sword, because I agree it's a very popular page, it's a very, keen, it's a very popular page. People always comment on it, people are always, willing to be on it. I think my challenge, or rather my issue is, I'm not in support of it. I'm not in support of what they do.
What do they do?
The page itself,
entirely.
I'm not in support of it, because sometimes it's not a true reflection of what happens. If you want to hold me accountable, get a sit down with me like Cherry has. I'm always available, as I've been told by very many people. So this is holding me accountable, asking me the questions that you need to ask.
Okay, but to be fair, this can only happen so often. So for instance, with I know he's not here, but I think you can represent him. For Jeff's club heads event, immediately it happened, Dispatch covered it, and the various club heads were able to express their frustrations on how the event was carried out.
Clubs Gala or Clubs Fair?
The Clubs Gala, actually. The Clubs Gala event, similar to other concerns that students have for example, which we'll talk about, the student packaging for food, because they're now moving to sustainability being so expensive. They raised it. And do you think they're doing the work of the student council? Because why do students feel the need to address the issues to them and not necessarily?
First of all, I think if you're a media outlet whose intent is to remain anonymous, then the intent or maybe the purpose of having that outlet is still not good. Because should the individual know that the problems are happening, they could come to me directly and just tell me this and this is happening. However, the challenge, how? Cherry, how has that been failing?
Because
you've never come to tell
over and over.
People have complained, but give me a complaint that has been raised within my tenure that I did not sufficiently address. The last complaint that you have raised is Wi-Fi, which you've raised to me, and I think I've started hearing the complaints in July. To raise it, though? In July is when I started having the complaints of, rampant complaints of Wi-Fi issues. Before then, I had no challenges. I think the challenge now is not that, it's how the complaint is raised. Because it's very simple. My number is 0711 619 432. My email address is ted.iha@strathmore.edu. You can also reach me on studentcouncil@strathmore.edu. You can call me between the hours of 8 and 7 p.m. Let me give you that leeway. You can let me know what your problems are. I've stated it before. I sent my contact to everyone.
So Ted, if someone calls you and tells you about the issue of student packaging, which I'm sure you've already had, what will you do about
now,
it?
The issue of student packaging is now a thing where now we need to be more... I support, as much as the cost is painful, and I also suffer the cost of buying the lunchbox for 40 shillings, 50 shillings. I support the idea, because the thing is this: for the longest time, we've been moving to a more sustainable environment. We've been trying to empower clubs here to advocate for issues that are important. The sustainability, the SDG club, the environmental club, is ideally meant to do, exactly that, push for sustainability and, sustainable efforts, and reduce the plastic, number of single-use plastics in the environment. I think then, for me, it would be hypocritical for me to say I don't support it, because they've worked so hard to have that, and the goal is actually to make...
to go about it?
Now that's the thing. Nothing would be exactly perfect in its first, form, but there still is a way we can work around it. But the goal is to ensure that we become more sustainable. So if you feel like the cost of the lunchbox is a challenge, you could carry a lunchbox. You could carry a bottle. Actually, the goal is to ensure that students have bottles that they can use to get water at the water points, and we've increased the water points. I'm very grateful to the catering department, Jacinta and her team, because they've increased the water points in every building. The goal is not to try and make life for students unbearable. I think the goal is to ensure that we are in a more sustainable environment. We only have one planet, guys, and it would be hypocritical for me to not support that. So yeah, and that's why you see first years, second years, there's been a culture of people getting bottles so that they can carry their own water. I also have mine right here so that I can carry my own water. So the thing is, let's be as sustainable as possible. The single-use plastic is unsustainable.
Fair enough. Okay, so Statizens asked you a few questions on the Statizen Instagram page, which you guys should follow as well. And a few of the questions that were asked were, for example, Lianzi asks, what's the outstanding thing he did for his students during his term? So maybe you can take this opportunity to clarify or, make it known to people what's that one outstanding thing or many outstanding things that you think weren't brought to light.
Okay, I think I've done quite a number of things. So for starters, we've been able to complete projects that were pending for the longest time. So we've been able to complete the footbridge around the zebra crossing 3 councils down the line. That thing had never been resolved. We've been able to resolve it with the current, student council, and I'm grateful to the management committee and, the university secretary and, the dean of students who continuously followed up with the Kenya National Highways Authority and ensured that that was done. I think the second thing that we did is we've not had any more cases of, suicide reported from Strathmore University students since January. We've had quite a bit of, like I said, post-pandemic challenges, and you guys again kept badgering me about it. I think we lost, one life too many by the time I was getting into office, and I'm happy that we were able to conduct a survey with 1,000 students. We were able to have, that survey taken into account, look at the data, and now put the necessary measures now for long-term goals. So we have four psychologists on campus, and we also have other service providers who we work with online, who are continuously, supporting the university, and we have very many friends that we can also recommend, and very many other people and service providers. I think the other thing we've been able to do is, again, raise money for Elimisha. So within the first 6 months, we had hit 500,000. 536,000 if I'm not wrong by the time we were closing, actually first 4 months by the time we were closing December. And after that, we've been able to distribute this money to students to ensure that we have, supported them within their tenure here in school and in their learning journey. Last but not least, I think one of the best thing we've been able to do is just have interactions with students and harmonize relationships between the council and staff. I think I've had a great relationship with members of very many departments that we've been able to work with, and the IT department, the SUF, Strathmore University Foundation, the VC around this time had quite a number of people. Career services, we've been able to harmonize energies and increase opportunities for students. We've been able to have networking sessions for students. We've been able to, get as many job opportunities for students as required, and we're continuously trying to push as much as possible. Any that I get, I forward to them. Any that they get, they forward to me, and we're able to share, that harmonious environment to ensure the betterment of students. I think the other thing that I think I'm grateful for is the continuous engagement of clubs. As much as you guys will not appreciate, clubs have become more active, more vibrant. And this is, I think, the first time we've had a president interviewed on the page like this, which I hope becomes a culture and a tradition. We've had very many clubs that have now taken charge and become active, and it's been an amazing, amazing journey. We are yet to have the second clubs fair, which will happen before we leave office. It was to happen this week, but however, we all know that the instability and the challenges, like you put it, man became a challenge. So I didn't want us to risk that, safety issues, and we can't put it on a day that we're uncertain on. And we've always increased opportunities for students, getting students jobs, getting students internships, getting students scholarships as well. I think one of the things that I'd say is we've given out the first ever leadership scholarship within my tenure. So this was competed for in a debate tournament, and 2 individuals are now going to attend Strathmore University at 50% off. And this was a great endeavor because, like I said, I'm here to mentor students. We've also been able to bring students from slums and grow, their capacity. We've been following the progress of these individuals. These individuals are now getting mentorship here in Strathmore University, and continue, of course, the legacy of the previous councils. You all get the digest, you all have the pad dispenser, we all have all these things that were set forth by the previous councils that are still ongoing now. For me personally, I think I can commend my team. We've tried our best to try and ensure that each and everyone feels included. We have even a more culturally sensitive Strathmore. Nowadays, we plan even around Eid. We ensure that guys get, their holiday, and we don't have the problems, the challenges. That's why we had challenges, graduation had to be moved as well. And we are continuously trying to work around how better to increase this, inclusivity, celebrating Independence Day. International Students Week came this year, we celebrated that, and, very many other things that we've been able to do. So I think that sensitivity, that, inclusivity is a great part for me.
Okay. So basically the other questions are repetitions, but we have PMK Muturi, and actually it's still him, the same account, but complaining about the school Wi-Fi, which I think you addressed, but do you have anything more to say on that?
I think let's be patient. Give me time to work on it.
Okay.
I can't make promises on the timelines, but give me time. Same thing I said when I got into office. I've been able to resolve all the problems over time. The footbridge, the psychologists, the laptops, and all the other things. I've been able to add those issues out. Just give me time, and give us time, we'll be able to resolve these challenges.
Okay, Mwenda Ashley asks, how did you balance your classes and all your presidential duties?
I think I'd say that it's not easy. It's never easy. But when you're psychologically prepared to, get into office and work for the betterment of everyone else, you have to find the balance, to strike the balance. There's never really a balance. It's more of doing what's required at that time. If I have an assignment due at midnight, I have an assignment due at midnight, because nonetheless there's the word student in student council. And remember, we are also given, that scholarship means that you still have to perform and be academically excellent as well. I can't be the president and fail. That's why I'm grateful to everyone who supported me in my journey up to now graduation. And I won't forget the journey thus far. I'll continuously be here. Strathmore will always be Strathhome for me, and I hope to continuously better the environment I've learned from.
Okay, so maybe we can close this interview with the question from 254 _Fro, who asks, what's your favorite bread?
My favorite bread is challah bread with raisins. It's a certain bread that I got to taste from at cafe as a gift. I'm not promoting anyone, please do not take my words, but I like that bread, but also regular bread, super loaf and the likes.
Okay, so thank you for coming. Thank you for honoring us with your time and for clarifying some of the issues that obviously Stratisans wanted to know. As he's repeated, his phone number is available to all of you, and the email, as well as the Student Council office on 3rd floor of STC. So thank you as well, our viewers, for watching. This was the very first episode of Council's Beat, brought to you by the Strathmore University Media Group.